total and complete shutdown of Muslims entering the United States until our country's representatives can figure out what the hell is going on.
I don't see how Muslims have been killed. What are your thoughts, your suggestions for us, for the community? What can we do?
The most important thing in order to explain this issue is to differentiate between the law and the executive order. In the United States, we have a constitution. This constitution governs every legal aspect of our lives. So the constitution is the supreme law of the land. Under the constitution, in power, there is the law that is being or have been passed by the Congress, two houses of Congress, Senate and House of Representatives. So this is the second in the supremacy. And then third in line will be the presidential executive power.
Right.
So this these orders that we are dealing with now are in the third degree when it comes to a supremacy clause of the law. So the president issued a few orders shortly after he took power, and these orders unfortunately were targeting, generally speaking, Muslim majority countries, specifically Yemen and Sudan and Somalia, Iraq, Iran, Libya and Syria. The situation is actually the severity of this was against the Syrian. So he indefinitely banned all refugees from Syria. So as a Syrian, you can't anymore seek any refuge with the United States. You can't, technically speaking, legally speaking, you cannot petition with the United Nations in order to come as a refugee to the United States. This has nothing to do with immigrant benefits or immigrant visas or visitor visas or student visas, other aspect of immigration. So refugees status has nothing to do with immigration benefits, which is basically based on law. So the other countries, including Syria, were basically immigration benefits were suspended for their citizens. So if you are a citizen of one of these Muslim countries, you cannot basically now come to the United States. Even if you have an immigrant visa not being issued yet, you cannot travel to the United States because it's either they will, technically as we speak now, they canceled your immigration interview date, or they postpone it or put it on hold or suspend the process for further notice until what will happen, until what the government will decide what will happen in near future. So the president technically ordered his cabinet to suspend the execution of the law, immigration law, for 120 days. And within these 120 days, the cabinet, respective cabinet members, secretary of the Homeland Security, which the immigration basically comes under his power, and the Secretary of Justice or Attorney General in the United States system. They call the Minister or Secretary of Justice an Attorney General. So after these two secretaries and the respective agency directors, security directors, security agencies, after they reach a kind of report about how they will approach the future way of processing immigration benefit, immigration petitions, they will basically yield the report or present the president with the report in order to decide what the president will pass or will decide as an executive order, or maybe he will yield that to the Congress in order to pass it as a law. But for the time being, we have a ban, suspension, stop, stay, wherever you want to use your choice of words. You cannot come to the United States if you are not a U.S. citizen or a permanent resident. We saw the last few days after the issuance of the orders that the authorities stopped some permanent residents, green card holders, and prevented them from coming to the country or from entering the country. This is, legally speaking, is not right. This is contradicts the Constitution, the immigration law, and all the laws of the land, because these people have obtained their permanent residency after a long process of being scrutinized and going through security process, and they have obtained this legal status based on the law. Eventually, the judge in Boston and the judge in the federal court here in Brooklyn or in New York. At this point in time, if you want to ask me what is the opinion of the law as a law practitioner, I'll tell you this is unconstitutional. I'll tell you that the president titled this executive orders when he signed them that keeping America safe. And in my opinion, forbidding families and children and older elderly from entering the United States is not gonna keep America safe. If you are targeting these, you are targeting the wrong people. These people have been scrutinized, have been approved security-wise, have been basically processed through long, lengthy process, maybe in some cases last for many years, and they are well vetted. The government knows everything about them, about their parents, spouses, children, everything, where they live, what they do. Most of them file taxes. They are good citizens. They love this country. It concerns them first to keep this country safe. We technically, as Muslim Americans, we want this country to stay safe. It is in our best interest to keep America safe. We love this country. We belong here. We don't want anybody belongs to our faith or any other faith to come here and create problems or act in a way to terrorize citizens. We don't want that. We are against that. Our religion teaches, our prophet orders us, our religion teaches, orders us to keep our promises, to take care of our neighbors, no matter what they are, religion, what they are, faith or skin color or whatever. We are human beings first before we are Muslims. Islam is not a religion of hatred. Islam a religion of caring and love and sacrifice. So keeping America safe, maybe instead of excluding people and titling people as the enemies or the others, maybe including people. If the president maybe took the other line, and instead of being exclusive, maybe if he was inclusive, like President Obama or President George W. Bush, when he was saying, okay, Islam is not our enemy. Both of them were saying that Islam is not our enemy. We are not in war with Islam. We are in war with fundamentalists, extremists, terrorists. We are Muslims in war ourselves with these people. How, like I can't even count in Jordan, my country, in Egypt, in Turkey, in Pakistan, in Afghanistan, all citizens of these countries, normal, good human beings, suffered from this small percentage of terrorists. Unfortunately, they title them, or they take the Islam as a title for their inhuman and not righteous acts, but it is in fact, it is not from Islam. It doesn't represent Islam, never represented Islam, never been approved with any normal a good citizen or a organization or a leader of the Islamic Ummah or Islamic nation. So yes, I think maybe I went too far with the answer, but I'm ready for more answers, questions. To be honest, we don't have a practice at this point because, as you know, everybody knows this is new. So nobody has experience with what is the right thing to do. But considering what has happened in the past few days, I don't think anybody with a permanent residency card or green card or a visa, valid visa, for example, student visa or whatever, H-1B or whatever, investment visa, I don't think it's wise for them to leave the country now. I think it is the right decision on their part or the right advice for them to stay in the country until we have a clear idea about what is this going to end up with, what is the norm will be after these secretaries or cabinet members will present the president with their reports. We don't know what is the norm will be looks like at maybe after 3 months or after this suspension period, which is 120 days. So my advice to everybody, if you are here legal, to stay in the country, to try to, of course everybody has to abide by the rule of law, but to be mindful of everything you do. Any encounterment with the government, for example, if you have a legal lawsuit or anything with the law enforcement, you should make sure that you have an attorney on your side. So just to make sure, I don't think, let me just set this straight. I don't think the American people or American law enforcement targeting us. I don't think the American people targeting us. But just to be on the safe side, just make sure to exercise your constitutional right, and ask for a lawyer to be with you. If you are being subjected for example, a lawsuit, investigation, or any of that kind of practices. Again, for the U.S. citizens, there is we didn't see any problem the past 4 days. I know a lot of citizens traveled and were overseas before, and they arrived after. So I don't think they have anything to be worried about. But other categories, they should stay in the country, and if they are inside the country, anything happens to them, they should immediately try to hire an attorney to and exercise their constitutional law by defending themselves properly. If you are following the news, the mayor de Blasio gave a big speech a few days ago. He emphasized the unity of the city, and he pledged to protect the Muslim community and Islamic centers. And if you step outside my office, you will find a police car parking in front of Masjid Mus'ab, our neighbors here. So in New York, at least in New York City, I don't see a problem. I think the city or the government is doing the right thing. They should inform the authorities. They should speak up, because nobody will know what is your problem unless you are vocal about it. You have to let the authorities know. I'm sure the law will be enforced anywhere in the country. We are in a place with the rule of law is supreme. So I'm sure if any person in power with legal authority was approached by a Muslim community or organization and they were asking for help, I'm sure they will help them. I don't think anybody will decline to do their duties, because we are, after all, citizens of this country. We are members of the communities. What concerns the country concern us. What hurts the country hurts us. We are American Muslims. Came to this country to seek ultimately the American dream, to live in a place with freedom, justice, and look for a better life for our children and the generation to come. So we are not interested in any shape or form in hurting this place. If we are interested in anything, is to keep these terrorists away from here and try to eliminate them from any part of the world. So going back to the point, I think we have a duty to be active, to let other people know if we have any problems. Silence and being passive at this point in time is not the right thing to do. We have to be vocal, we have to be active, we have to work within the rule of law, within the law, peaceful, and peacefully we have to act. At the same time, maybe if I will advise the community leaders or the imams or any Islamic centers, I'll advise them to advise their members, community members or mosque members, advise them of their rights, legal rights, the right of having a fair trial, the right of having an attorney on their side if anything happens, the right of calling the police and not being afraid of the people in uniform, because these people in uniform are there to help you, to protect you. You have no reason to be afraid of them. So I think we have a lot of work to do. We have to be a good ambassadors to our religion, because obviously people here do not understand our religion. Maybe they were misled by some media outlets, but it's our job, the burden of proving that this religion is a noble religion, is a religion calls for peace and humanity, is our burden. So we have to show the other communities, the other people, the other faith, the other people of faith, that we belong to a religion that does not approve terrorism or hatred or anything from any kind of activities that not. Bar Association, you can. We have a big website online, so it's easy to be accessed. So many attorneys volunteer their times, and we have now, for example,
they have any hotline service or anything? Or no?
I don't recall the phone numbers, but they are available on the internet. It's Muslims Bar Association, easy to be accessed. And I don't like it to. I don't like to just label this under the Muslim Bar Association, because our co-workers, lawyers from Christian or Jews even, and other people, they have been volunteering day and night in JFK or in the cities. The percentage of people who are non-Muslims who are protesting this law and trying to protesting against the executive orders are the majority of them non-Muslims. So now at this point, the Americans who are the believers in justice, in equality for all, to the freedom of religion, freedom of speech, everybody are one hand, everybody on one heart, everybody one against inequality, let me call it. So when it comes to Muslims, you can approach the Muslim Bar Association, and you can approach any other lawyers outlets or lawyers organizations, and I'm sure you will find hands and ears, and you will find all the help that you need. The definition of being a leader, by definition, you have to, in order to lead, you have to lead by example and by knowledge. You cannot be ignorant and lead people, because you will lead them to the wrong direction. So leaders, they have to educate themselves. They have to be involved with the communities, with the other organizations. They have to be they have to have a knowledge of the law and the legal system and political system in order to advise their followers or the organization that they lead. For example, imams, they have to at least educate themselves to have some kind of knowledge of the law, of the language. And if they don't know, I mean, they cannot approach other attorneys, community members Muslim or non-Muslims. And I'm sure a lot of lawyers will be more than happy to help, to give the hand, because technically it's give them some kind of publicity. And even if it is not publicity, it is as a human being, you want to give back to the community. You will be more than happy to help the imam or the organization that you belong to with your knowledge. You can share your knowledge. So the leaders and imams have a responsibility to the members of their organization or Islamic centers. This responsibility is to spread the awareness, to tell them what are their rights. If they don't know, the imams, or the other leaders, if they are, for example, specialists in medicine or philosophy or whatever, they can reach out to people who know the expert in the field. And myself, I know a lot of Muslim attorneys and non-Muslim attorneys who are more than happy and willing to give back, to reach out, to share the knowledge and educate the members of our community.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
ITV, Call of Peace, Save Humanity.